Welcome to my channel Mumusak. Today I'm going to show you how to draw with 2-point perspective a sofa for one seat. So first we start with the vanishing points always. Try to make your vanishing points a little bit far away from each other so that your angles will be smoother. Then I start from the corner that is close to me, about the back part, and I'm making slightly below the horizon so that some part will be above horizon and it's going to look balanced. I decide about my dimensions, and rule number 1 about 2-point perspective is that all the vertical points should be 90 degrees to the horizon line unless there is a special angle about the object. So now I'm making the seat part. You need to make it with precision about the 2-point perspective or any kind of perspective drawing. So here at the back of my sofa I have a slightly angled one. This is especially good for the furniture because this way the back pillows will be more comfortable. That's why they are having it slightly angled in many cases. The back part generally is not really straightforward like 90 degrees, so I'm making it like that, and I'm starting to bind with the points as usual. With the precision you have to do it. I'm using a graded ruler. They also call these a see-through ruler because I know some people are asking me about them. It's helped me to align and make 90 degrees much more easier. So now, this is the back part. Okay, this is solid. Whatever you do, you have to come here. But you have to be very careful, like most probably, if you try to do it like that, as you see, it's not correct. Why? Because you have to follow the seat part. In these videos, I try to act like a student and try to redo your mistakes so that you can understand it much better, what to follow, not to do. So always come from the frame to the inside. I made the lower part, which is generally a wooden part. Then I put the pillow part. The pillow part about the seats are generally very big, not very straightforward, otherwise it will be really uncomfortable. If it's making you a little bit disturbed about not seeing it, erase it. But as you see here, I just mix this one and I have that cushion part. So the lower part is the frame, which is a wooden part, and then on top I put it. As you see, it's really disturbing about some lines sometimes. You can erase them or make them a little bit slightly less so that we can understand. Here, what we have to do is to make a parallel line. You can make it practical like that if you have a steady hand. In these videos, I will try to show you multiple ways to do it. But whatever you do, you have to add the pillows. And even from the corner, yes, you have to do it with your vanishing points. And then for the other part of that pillow, the back pillow, you have to merge it. Generally, the back pillows can be slightly smaller. So this is a practical method that you can do it. Like I just glide it so to keep the same angle. You can use another ruler also. But don't forget that these cushions are soft ones. And whatever the filling is, they are generally not that straightforward. So I'm adding some drapes to make it look a little bit more fluffy and more realistic, let's say. You can use some little shading whenever you design either a furniture or you want to draw with perspective. It will help your work a lot of contribution. After that, I just try to make my lines better, but still I'm using the vanishing points, as you see. If you try to do it without the vanishing points, even the slightest change of the ruler will be very obvious at the end. So here now, this is a sofa for one seat. And if there are any legs, this is your design. You can do whatever you want. I decide to make something like a low, big legs to make it better understood. So don't forget that this is a corner. If your aim is to make square legs, you have to make both right and left with the same amount of measurement. So yeah, literally you can just measure it and apply it. But there are different types of legs as well. So it really depends if it's a rectangular one, if it's a square one. Maybe it's a curvy one. Still you can use these lines as a guidance. Every corner should be done. Now I'm using a practical method, but there are better ways about making the legs just right. In the following videos I will try to make especially a video for these. Why I'm trying to show multiple things is when you try to learn things, especially with perspective, sometimes in the beginning everybody is getting a little bit too confused. That's why I try to give these one by one. But rule number one about the perspective is that the objects are getting smaller when they are a little bit far away. So I mimic it a little bit slightly smaller, but whatever you do, both legs should be the same measurement. But there's a more secure way to draw them. But this doesn't look unlogical at all, so I do it. So now, with a very nicely sharpened pencil, by the way, you can use HB as a base, and then you can make the lines or shadows much more higher with 2B, some softer grades as well. I'm trying to make it just a little bit more. It's not just sponge. There is a cover, there's a textile cover. So yeah, I may design it like that, but there are other details as well. Like here, there is a binding when the fabrics meet. This is totally my design, so I can do whatever I want. And when you check about the real furniture, you will see that there are so many details. If you want to become a furniture designer or an interior designer, you should be caring about these small details. They add value to the design. I make it slightly fluffy to give that soft feeling. This eraser is very handy. It is enabling you to erase very small details. And generally, if I have all the time, if I'm not doing a video, I can make this shading process much more slower and with more time. But today I will try to give you a little bit accelerated one. easy one so that you can also apply. If you start your shading with some focus, like where you are heading the light, where there will be the shadow, it will be a good start. Like I'm making the right side a little bit darker. That means the light is coming from the left side. You can make some, you can use some blending tools like I'm doing. They are just making very nice, easy blending, and also my main idea is just to give some realistic idea. But as you see, if you want to use these stomps, they are being called stomps, you really need to make not just like this always, but sometimes you need to pressurize with all your hands. So now I'm doing it as if I'm drawing it. But you will see that if you want to have a nice blend, you still need to act as if it's another pencil. Then, of course, I'm losing my shading, and then I have to redo it. Also, the texture of the couch is important, the sofa. What type of texture you want. If it's going to be leather, it should be different. Now it's just a simple, easy, velvet mixed type of couch I'm making it. But as you see, I'm using it with different angles. It's just easier than doing it with pencil. I'm not doing it for this because I know the students especially like these type of materials, but also I want to have a very nice and soft blend. The taste of these stones are different than the pencils. I like both of them. You need to give some degrees and shadows always. You will see why they're important. This is an easy trick. If you are very afraid, like many beginners, you can put a ruler there, so there is no fear. Fear is very important in drawing. Many people are limiting themselves because of fear. That's why I will try to show some easy and practical things to get rid of that fear. If you want to have a better blending, a smoother surface, you can crush it with this. But now I'm using it as a pencil. Now I'm going to crush it. If you need a good blend, you should be holding and you have to put with your all strength. Otherwise, it's going to cause some problems as well. As you see, there's a black part there. And in pencil shading, it is so important to do it layer by layer so that you can add and you can make a comparison which part will be darker, which part will be darkest. But in any drawing, you have to have light, medium, dark, and darkest to be able to have a realistic. And you can use your eraser like a pencil, and you can add light. You can add interesting tricks through them. I'm having 2B now. I can make it very dramatized type of shadow, but I prefer to make it in a medium level for now, just to give the idea. You see, if you do it directly, there will not be easier about giving the drapes because it's not scratching. But according to the shape you have to act, that is for sure. In any kind of sofas with fabric, there will be creases. Any kind of material, because it has lots of filling and sponge, and there's a cover from leather, fabric, these type of materials. So in any way, it is a soft thing we are dealing. By the way, you can always change the direction of the paper here now, because I want you to understand the video better. I'm not changing the paper direction, but normally I can. So I'm pushing it, and I can get a better blending. You can always make some defining the edges type of details. You can add some depth feeling, and at the end it will be finished. Always start with the one seat first, then go to 2 seats and 3 seats. This is my advice. And as you can see, with the eraser you can add a little bit more detail. Some impurities are good because it's the fabric. And I'm adding a little bit more depth because with my eye I just evaluated. And here it is. The latest touches. And voila. Thank you for watching.